Hey folks, Gary here. Happy Tuesday morning to you. Get out and enjoy your day. What a beautiful day it looks like it's going to be outside. It looks like it's going to be awesome. Hey, yesterday we talked about God's opinion, right? What does Jesus say? What does Jesus say about me? It's important that we press into what God says about us, what God feels about us, what God thinks about us, more than we listen to what the world says about us. A lot of times we can look at the world, and the world might not necessarily say you're blank or you're this or you're that, but they will bring a comparison. They will show off what the idealized person is. And of course, you're never going to measure up to that because no one does. And you'll be found lacking. So you'll do everything you can to obtain that. And that happens all the time, right? If my hair was just longer, if my hair was just shorter, if it wasn't curly, or if it wasn't straight, or man, if I could get rid of this nose, things like that. And there's this unsatisfaction about who we are, but it shouldn't be that way because God has created us. What does Jesus say about us? In Psalm 139, verses 13 and 14, David talks about God creating us, God putting us together in our mother's womb. Let me read it. Psalm 139, verse 13. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Can you just think about that? God invested so much in you that he's putting all of this together in our mother's womb. Tiny little pieces. And he's the DNA of our, just putting it all together. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Not just complex, but wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. Again, we can compare ourselves to other people, and when we do that comparison, we're using their measuring stick. We're using what society says is attractive. We're using what society says is smart. We're using what society says is appealing. And so we're using their measuring stick to measure ourselves. I think that's where we really fail. What we need to do is use God's measuring stick. How does God measure us? And the way he measures us is this. He measures us through Jesus Christ, through his sacrifice on the cross. And he says, I am so in love with you. I created you. You are my masterpiece. Don't listen to what the world wants you to be. Listen to what I want you to be. Because God has created you for a purpose, a specific purpose. Ephesians 2:10 talks about that we are created for purpose as a masterpiece. You're not a mistake. You're not an error. God created you, and he lovingly put you together. So, whose opinion are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the world who says this? Or are you going to listen to Jesus who says, you have been wonderfully, carefully made, and I'm deeply in love with you? That's what Jesus says. So who are you going to listen to? Listen to Jesus.